1230 WBVP, 1460 WNBA, 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, 95.7 FM now. It's Ask the Commissioners, and that means Jack is here. How are you?
I'm doing good. It was a great Memorial weekend, but very busy.
Yeah.
May was an extremely busy month for us. And it looks like June's picking right up. A lot of events, and I try my best to get as many places I'm invited to as possible.
Jack Manning with the commissioner. He's a commissioner, otherwise why would he be here on the show as the commissioner? If you've got a question, you can call it in, 724-843-1888, or you can post it on our Facebook page. This is being live streamed right now at the Beaver County Radio Facebook page. You can post your questions in the comments. First things first, I want to get to all the events, but first things first, do you have your lifeguard certification?
No.
No?
But I wish I knew about
you
a
know
dozen kids.
You know how to swim, right?
Yes.
No, wait, what's the hesitation?
I don't swim much these days.
Okay.
And I'm more of a going to the ocean kind of a guy.
You're a water watcher.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can't tell you last time I was in a pool.
Okay.
I was probably on vacation somewhere.
So what you're telling me is when you hire some lifeguards to open some pools, your name's not going to be on the list.
No. I mean, it's just, in all seriousness, it's a tough situation. And, and I understand why a lot of young folks aren't interested in doing it. I mean, it's a serious job. You need certifications and the like, but it's a summer job, and we can only afford to pay so much for that. I mean, we don't make money on this pool from the county standpoint.
Now, the pool we're talking about
is
the
liability economy.
Old economy pool. That's a great pool. I see people there. Well, until what? 2020, I saw people there every summer all the time.
With the exception of COVID.
Right.
I mean, it's a great amenity, and, you know, we enjoy having it, but there's only so much we can do. I mean, we struggle to get summer hires to help our DPW folks mow grass in the parks and those kinds of things. Normally we offer, you know, a handful of summer jobs. We struggle to find anybody that wants to do that, let alone try to come up with, you know, 8 to 10 lifeguards.
Is it what the job pays compared to what other summer type jobs or part-time jobs are paying, or is it less of an interest with kids now? Or
I think it's a combination of things. You know, in the past we've rounded up high school kids or college kids who were on swim teams at different places.
That's what it was when I was growing up. Every kid that was on the swim team was a lifeguard somewhere. That was the summer gig. Yeah.
But I don't even know how some of these other pools, Cranberry has a pool. I mean, you look at Seven Oaks, you know, the country club, they have a big pool, they need lifeguards. I don't know if everybody is struggling with it. It appears to be. Right. It's a universal issue, because I know Tony Caltori has not left any stone unturned to try and find candidates. He's talked to different pools, different counties, different park and rec folks internally here, and we just can't get enough to open right now. I'm hopeful that we can get a couple more and at least be able to open like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday kind of a thing, some kind of a weekend schedule if we can. If we can't open enough full time, like we had intended to do.
Is there a timeline where you have to say, okay, well, I guess the timeline would be if you get enough people that are willing to work the weekends, you're going to open up the weekends. Yeah. It's that simple.
More than likely, that's what we would do. And Tony said yesterday, I mean, if it's July and August are still pretty good months. So, you know, by the end of this month, we ought to have an idea of whether we're going to be able to do something or not, and hopefully we can find a few. But it just gets tougher the more it goes on, because it means those kids have probably found something else to do.
Right.
That either pays more, or they're vacationing with family, or they're doing something else.
Are you competing with private pools? As far as, I mean, is there anything you can do? Because the gig's the gig. If I'm going to make a decent amount of money at either place, I'll consider either place. Is there anything commissioners can do to say, well, what's the job pay? minimum wage?
It's $10 an hour.
$10 an hour.
Yeah.
Is there anything that could raise that up? I mean, as far as what you can do, or is that the gig's the gig?
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
even if we raise it to $15 an hour, I don't
You
think
don't-
we're going to have. I don't think we're going to find
Okay.
anybody that's interested in doing that.
Is there a drop dead day where you say, look, we got to move on with other stuff?
Well, again, I think by the end of this month, by the end of June, if it looks like there's no light at the end of the tunnel, then we may have to just move on. But if we do find some between now and the end of June, you still have, from
June, July, August,
July
September.
and August and up through Labor Day. Yeah.
We're already busy 9,000 different ways from Sunday. Are we as busy as we used to be, or are we more busy because we're catching up with COVID? You mentioned there's a ton of events coming up. Beaver County Boom's coming up. Mm-hmm. The car cruise is, I think, next Saturday,
11th,
right?
Yeah. Darlington Days is this weekend.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and there's a lot of events. I think everybody's trying to make up for lost time during COVID. It? And I think a lot of businesses are starting to a little busier, but people told me not everybody has come back to their pre-pandemic business models, small business owners particularly. And they're still having, obviously, inflation costs, supply chain costs, and trying to find labor. I mean, there's a lot of restaurants that aren't operating the amount of hours they would like to operate because they don't have enough people to work as servers on different shifts and short order cooks and all that kind of stuff. It's a tough labor market right now. Inflation over the last year, I think just heard Frank say that it was 8.4%.
Right.
But
and we were
are
celebrating that it didn't set a record like the month before.
Right.
Okay. Well, just your theory, where did all the people go that used to do those jobs?
You know, I really don't know, other than the fact that almost everybody I talk to finds that these generations, I don't want to sound like an old geezer here.
That's okay.
Baby boomers, stuff, but they have a different, and it's probably a good thing, different work-life balance desires than those of us that, started with the idea of a career and that career going for X number of years and then, retiring. So they're more, as I call them, free agents. They bounce around a lot.
Okay, so it's not an issue of not getting a job. It's an issue of, okay, I got this job. That doesn't mean my plan is to be here for 30 years.
Right. If this looks like a better opportunity, or is it, they'll do a lot of job hopping. But the problem is there's not enough people in the pipeline to fill jobs, because the jobs that are being filled by people who already have jobs someplace else. So we're just trading off.
So some people
we're just
aren't
trading
doing
off the unemployment.
Okay.
There's a whole bunch of people that have left the workforce. A lot of older folks who could be working a few more years, but said, you know what? COVID took the wind out of my sails.
Yeah.
This isn't worth it anymore.
Life's too short.
Exactly. I'm going to spend more quality time with the family and do things I want to do. And all up and down that chain, they're just people that haven't been incentivized to seek jobs. Plus, we have an aging demographic. We have a population that's been shrinking. So as a result of that, there just aren't enough people to fill all the job openings we have, other than somebody job hopping from this job to another job, and then somebody hopping into that job. So the demand on labor far exceeds the supply at this point.
Is this something that COVID brought around?
I think COVID exacerbated the situation, but
Okay.
we knew a while ago, back when I was running the chamber and was involved in some things, there was something called Inflection Point Report that said that just based on projected job growth of filling retirees,
As the workforce ages out, right?
We were going to be 80,000 people short in the Pittsburgh metropolitan area. So, if you extrapolate that out in Beaver County, we were going to be at least 10,000 people short. for the number of jobs and the type of jobs we have. We just aren't attracting enough people into the area, or people aren't having enough kids that are staying here to fill these jobs.
When things like the cracker plant happen, does that give you hope that, okay, this can turn in the right direction? Because
Well,
at least still for the time being, there's a lot of jobs. I haven't heard exactly when they're going to fire it up, but there's still a lot of people here working.
Yeah, most likely they'll start up sometime, in the next month or two, or three. But they've already hired a significant number of people, and there's also a significant number of contract employees that will be supporting that plant as it opens up. But I mean, the best thing that I have said this for a long time, that the cracker plant in Shell did was it put Beaver County on the map. And people from outside the area were starting to look at Beaver County as a place to invest. But even those folks coming in and investing and bringing, new jobs to the area still need the people to fill those jobs. One of the things that Shell did very well was they worked for a couple of years to ensure that there'd be enough construction workers.
If we're going to take on a project, we need to know we can do it.
Yeah, 8,000 construction workers, across various trades just don't show up one day. You had to work hard. They did a lot of work. They worked with all the trades, the unions, and some other people to ensure that we did hire local people. We kind of exhausted the local talent, and they went elsewhere and out of the state to bring in some other supplement.
I remember
talent.
hearing from a construction friend of mine, if you want to work right now, there's no reason you can't work right now. There's people looking
there is
every
no
day.
question. Everybody's looking for somebody that's willing to learn and with a work ethic, and they'll train you up. We're working hard with the Career Technology Center, the VOTEC, and the high school academies, and this kind of stuff.
And CCBCs.
CCBCs, high school academies and stuff.
Yeah.
And they're working closely with people like Heritage Valley, trying to ensure that those pre-nurse and nursing graduates stay in the area and fill the jobs there. I mean, that's another area in the healthcare field where we're just we're losing more people than we're able to find to fill those jobs.
Jack Manning is my guest. It's Ask the Commissioners on Teleforum. You can call in a question if you've got one. You can post it on the live Facebook feed that's going on right now. 10 years from now, I'm get you to look into your crystal ball. 10 years from now, are we going to have more people or less people in Beaver County?
Well, I think we'll have, we've started to reverse the trend starting around 2015. So we have started to, if you look at the projections of where we were heading at the 2010 census, where we are now, we're now starting to tick up. And I think we will grow. This Pittsburgh region is still losing population overall. And we're competing with some communities that have some better amenities than the ones we have, which is why we're working so hard with the infrastructure to improve our parks, to improve our roads, to improve our water and sewer, to bring new lines in the areas where we can have new housing. I mean, there's a dearth of affordable housing everywhere, and again, the housing demand far exceeds the supply right now. So there's some things, we're moving in the right direction. I think we will have growth.
What are the amenities that people say, oh, I want to move my business there, but... And I'm not talking about the technical amenities of infrastructure, being able to run whatever the business is. What do people look for in the work-life balance when they're making big decisions like that?
When I was doing downtown consulting, it's much for residents as well as small business owners deciding whether to invest their money into a town, into a business. Everybody was kind of looking for the same things. They look at safety. It's a big issue. It's always one of the top three to five issues.
Yeah, the rent's $20 a month. Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. They look for the quality of the schools and education, and if they're going to start a family, where they going to send their kids to school, what kind of education they're going to get. They look at the other quality of life amenities, parks and streams and rivers and hunting and fishing and, soccer and canoeing and all the other things that come with that. They want to have that balance, and they're always among the top. And then another one that's in that top 5 is always taxes, right? They always look at what the tax base is. So whether you're a business owner or a resident, you're kind of looking at those 3 to 5 things on making a decision on where you're going to raise your family or where you're going to start your business.
All right,
where you're going to move to.
That is a perfect segue. After the news, I'm going to get straight to the money questions. Commissioner Jack Manning is my guest on Teleforum. 724-843-1888 to call. Post your question on the Facebook feed. It's being Facebook Live feeded right now. Money, money, money after news with Frank on Teleforum.
Did you ever think you would see a day when nobody showed up for the big city holiday parades or pro sports events? This is Michelle from Laughlin Insurance Agency in Rochester. If nothing else, this past year has taught us that things we never considered possible can happen and that nobody can predict the future. At the Laughlin Agency, your Penn National insurance provider, we give you the ability to protect against loss during unexpected times. Who knows what the future holds? Visit LaughlinInsAgency.com.
The best of Beaver County is easy to discover. It's right here on your radio. Tune in this and every Thursday from 11 to 11:30 for the best of Beaver County, presented by St. Barnabas. The show is hosted by Mike Romai and is dedicated to shining light on great things going on right here in your neighborhood and the people that are making it happen. This Thursday, enjoy conversation and insight from an intriguing lineup of guests that are creating excitement and having an impact right here in Beaver County. The Best of Beaver County is presented by St. Barnabas. The radio broadcast will also be replayed each week from 11:30 to noon on Sundays on Beaver County Radio. It's your chance to encounter the best of Beaver County with new show host Mike Romai this Thursday starting at 11. For more information, visit beavercountyradio.com/the best of Beaver County. You're listening to Ask the Commissioners on WBVP, WMBA, 99.3 FM, and Facebook Live. The Commissioners are awaiting your questions by calling 724-843-1888 or 724-774-1888. Today's show is brought to you by Huntington Bank, the Laughlin Insurance Agency, and Beaver Valley Auto Mall. Click BeaverValleyCars.com. You can also post comments or questions in the Facebook Live video feed. And now, it's your chance to Ask the Commissioners, right here on Beaver County Radio.
Highmark Blue Cross, Blue Shield, and Allegheny Health Network are pleased to present a new show on Beaver County Radio called Heroes. Tune in every Saturday at 10 and Sunday at 12:30 for Heroes, a wonderful half-hour segment hosted by Jim Roddy that profiles many of the local heroes in this community. Click highmark.com for more information and then tune in for Heroes this Saturday at 10 and again Sunday at 12:30 on WBVP, WMBA, and 99.3 FM.
Tune in every Friday at 12:30 for another insightful edition of Living Well, a special segment on Beaver County Radio designed to help you enjoy the best, most fulfilling, and healthiest life possible. Hosted by Dr. Joseph Maroon and Jeff Boast, and presented by St. Barnabas. Living Well, Fridays at 12:30, right here on Beaver County Radio, WBVP Beaver Falls, WMBA Ambridge, along with 99.3 FM and 95.7 FM.
The ballpark is coming into your living room or the dashboard of your car. That's because Pirates Baseball is on Beaver County Radio. Set the dial to WBVP, WMBA, 99.3 FM or 95.7 FM, and then turn the volume up to hear the most beautiful sound in the world. Pirates Baseball is sure to be a hit this year, and it's presented locally by the Beaver Falls Municipal Authority, Express Employment Professionals, Dr. C. Timothy Lipp, Falcones Mood Township Board, Keystone Wellness Program, and St. Barnabas, among others, right here on Beaver County Radio.
Beaver County Radio's news source, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com. Here's Frank Sparks.
And good morning, as today's forecast is calling for the chance of showers and thunderstorms throughout the day today. High is going to be 73 degrees. We'll have a complete Beaver County radio weather forecast coming up for you right after we have this look at news. There will be no diving in the shallow end of the pool, or the deep end for that matter. Despite remaining closed, the county staff is keeping hope that Old Economy Pool will open sometime this summer. AM Beaver County's Matt Durzik has more from yesterday's commissioner's work session at the Beaver County Courthouse.
There's a lot of misinformation out there. The pool's closing for the year. We don't want to see that happen. The commissioners aren't closing the pool now. It's just a matter of workforce right now.
That was Commissioner Dan Camp at Wednesday's work session in regards to rumors that Old Economy Pool would be closed for the summer. The pool has yet to open because of a lack of lifeguards on staff for proper operation, but Parks and Recreation Director Tony Caltori says that the search for lifeguards continues and that there are no time barriers on the horizon.
We haven't imposed a deadline. Typically our season runs from Memorial Day through Labor Day, so even if we're looking at early July, we still have plenty of time to be 2 full months of openness. So we have not set a hard deadline for that as of yet.
From the courthouse, I'm Matt Durzik for Beaver County Radio News.
United States Attorney Cindy K. Chung announced yesterday that 28-year-old Nehemiah Fisher Eggleston, formerly of McKees Rocks, was sentenced by United States District Judge Robert J. Coville in federal court to 54 months imprisonment and 3 years of federal supervised release on his conviction for violating the federal narcotics laws. Eggleston pled guilty to conspiracy to distribute a quantity of heroin, fentanyl, and fluorofentanyl, all of which are schedule-controlled substances under the federal law. The incidents occurred in and around September 2021 and continued through February of this year. Vendor registration is now being accepted for the 4th annual New Brighton Fall Fest on Saturday, October the 15th. The deadline to register is October the 2nd. You can register online. There's a link on our website at beavercountyradio.com. And if you need more information, you can call the New Brighton Borough office at 724-846-1870. The youngest member of the Greensburg Six was resentenced yesterday by a judge to 60 years to life in prison. Angela Marinucci is now 29 years old and could be eligible for parole when she's 78 years old. She was originally sentenced to life in prison without parole for her role in the death of Jennifer Doherty. Marinucci and 5 others tortured and killed Doherty back in 2010. Prosecutors said that Marinucci's age was the only thing that prevented them from seeking the death penalty against her. She was just 17 years old at the time of the crime. House Majority Policy Committee Chairman Martin Kauser announced that the committee will hold a series of hearings this month that will examine the cause and effect of inflation-induced cost increases. Kauser said in the email statement that people are seeing a sticker shock everywhere they turn. Whether it's gasoline or groceries, utility or other services, everything is going up in price, while many of us are still struggling to recover from the economic impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. Pennsylvania's inflation rate was 8.4% between April of 2021 and April of 2022. Energy prices are up nearly 33%, and transportation is up nearly 21%. Gasoline alone is up more than 43%, and vehicle costs are up more than 18%. Food prices, they're up 9.5% overall, with key staples of meat, poultry, and eggs being up nearly 15%. Housing costs have risen 7.9%, including fuels and utilities, household furnishings, and rents. Each hearing is slated to take place at the Capitol in Harrisburg. Now, you can see a schedule of the hearings on our website at beavercountyradio.com, and there's also a link there where you can watch them live while the hearings are happening.
Here's the Beaver County forecast on 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com.
Scattered showers and thunderstorms today with a high of 73 degrees. Scattered evening showers will give way to gradual clearing overnight tonight with a low of 50. Tomorrow, sunny skies, high 74. Saturday, sunny with a high of 72. Sunday, mostly sunny, high up to 78. And then on Monday, a chance of showers and an afternoon thunderstorm with a high of 79 degrees. That is a look at the news for now. I'm Frank Sparks, Beaver County Radio News, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and beavercountyradio.com.
You're listening to Ask the Commissioners on WBVP, WMBA, 99.3 FM, and Facebook Live. The Commissioners are awaiting your questions by calling 724-843-1888. or 724-774-1888. Today's show is brought to you by Huntington Bank, the Laughlin Insurance Agency, and Beaver Valley Auto Mall. Click beavervalleycars.com. You can also post comments or questions in the Facebook Live video feed. And now it's your chance to Ask the Commissioners right here on Beaver County Radio.
Is Teleforum just having a laugh here? Jack, always laugh with you. Even when we talk about serious stuff, Beaver County Commissioner Jack Manning is my guest. It's Ask the Commissioners. We do this from time to time. I said I would just get straight to the money question. All right, number one, it's a two-parter. Okay. Number one, where's all that government money that's sitting there? And number two, can you call Governor Wolf and say, hey, $2,000 per person? That sounds good. What's up with that?
Yeah.
We need to, I don't want to say burn through the money. We need to apply a use for a large amount of money in terms of government very relatively quickly. Mm-hmm. Where are we with that?
Yeah, so a couple of things. One, if you want to influence Governor Wolf, you need to talk to your state reps and state senators, because we as commissioners,
is that another one of those things?
A little frustrated with some of our input and ability to do things there. But I've said all along, if the U.S. Treasury, if the federal government is going to give us back our tax money,
and people lose track of that. People say, "Well, where's that money coming from?" They already took that from us.
That is our tax money coming back into Beaver County.
Yeah.
Dan, Tony, and I said we're going to put it to the best possible use for the future of Beaver County, to help people in need, but also to help revitalize, fix infrastructure, and move the county forward, so we do have the population growth that we were talking about. That's why we are spending money at Brady's Run and Brush Creek and Old Economy, why we are supporting nearly $20 million worth of municipal infrastructures applications that came in across all the
stuff that you said people look for.
Well, yeah. Well, it's basic. Some of it's just broke fixed. We have aging infrastructure.
True.
That's a reality. We have a bunch of riverfront towns that were formed hundreds of years ago, and over the last century and a half, still have some infrastructure issues that they haven't been able to fix and get past. So we finally have some money now, with our tax money coming back to us in Beaver County, to help out with those. We've helped out numerous small businesses and nonprofits, and we're continuing to do that. Because whether people want to admit it or not, whether you believe in COVID or not, the reality is, for a year and a half, we've had declining sales, shut down businesses, and everything else. Now, we fought back and pushed back as hard as we could to get Beaver County open and to recover from all of that. But the fact of the matter is that now, with that high pent-up demand, we're starting to have inflationary issues, and we're starting to outpace our supply on an awful lot of things. So some things that we're looking at are turning out to be a lot more expensive than we thought because of inflation. So unfortunately,
when that happens, do you have to go back and rewrite the plan and change the numbers, or do you just say, this buffer, we had to build in a buffer for inflation?
Yeah, I mean, most of the contractors and the people doing the infrastructure work have built in something on that. But once they commit to that
that's
number,
the number.
that level, that's the number.
Okay.
So it behooves them to estimate what labor cost is going to be, what supply is going to be, and what the energy costs are going to be to do some of those things. So, but anyway, that's where all that money has gone. The radios that we talked about, that's an issue for the fire departments. Did everybody
finally agree, let's use the best radio?
I think we did. We still haven't heard from, and I always get these numbers wrong, but there are 47 fire departments, 34 police departments, and everybody's gotten their orders in, except I think there's still about 10 police departments and 11 fire departments that are still working on getting the number of radios that they need into us. We submitted a number. We told them what their 20% share was going to be of that, and we're waiting for the finalization that they're committing to that cost, that 20% share cost.
If they haven't given you the number yet, isn't that holding up the orders for all of the other
Well, it will,
departments
but that's why this month, within the next week or two, we want to place that order and get that underway. So we have the number of radios.
Mm-hmm.
What we're waiting for from those 10 police departments, 11 fire departments, is that they're willing to come up with a 20% cost share. If they're not, then we'll move on.
No radios for them?
Well, unless they're going to do something on their own, or unless they have a better plan or a better scheme. But obviously, the vast majority of all those folks, what's that, 81 or some fire and police departments, and we're missing about 20.
Okay. I'm applying logic. I don't understand if that's the best radio. You're talking about health and you're talking about emergencies. I would want the best radio, and I understand financially.
Well, it's the best value, and we're trying to do that. I know some people are balking at the cost of renovating tennis courts and basketball courts and skateboard parks and the hockey arena. We're in the process of doing all that, but we're doing it in a way that maximizes the lifespan of that. So over the years, and not having to redo that, do it on the cheap and then have to redo it every 3 to 5 years because you get cracks in a tennis court or a basketball court.
All right, I'm glad you mentioned that.
So we're doing it in a way that will give maximum longevity to those amenities.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because one of the questions that's come in on the live Facebook feed of this, Rick sent it in, looking for an update on the tennis courts on Route 51, Brady's Run area. Evidently, they're getting rebuilt. Didn't think they were used enough to justify the expense.
Yeah,
They're used. Everybody's
are
got their
used.
thing.
They're
In the winter, you're going to hear from people that want the ice arena. Amenities mean amenities for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody has their niche. Everybody has their thing. We get a lot of calls, and Tony Caltore, Park and Rec gets a lot of calls from the tennis people. We have the indoor courts.
That makes sense. Tennis people.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Swimming pool
play tennis
people.
every day, and there are very few amenities around in the county that can do that. And we're going to have very good tennis courts when we're done here. So, and we're adding some pickleball courts because I don't know, in the 2 years I've been a commissioner, it's been brought up multiple times by people. There are pickleball courts in Cranberry. I think the YMCA has one, and there's some others, but it's becoming a very popular
Are they known
sport.
as the pickle people when they call?
I haven't nicknamed them yet.
You're welcome. You have them.
But it is very popular, especially for young and old, but particularly those of us that are of a certain age.
How difficult is it, and I know it's part of your job as a commissioner, how difficult is it to tell somebody straight up, we can't accomplish that? Do you get better at that, or do you learn? How do you do that? Because that would be tough.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Tony, Dan, and I were both we're all pretty pragmatic. I'm a realist, and I face reality as it is, not as we'd like it to be. And sometimes when you face reality as it is, there's only so much you can do. And some things just are cost prohibitive. The good news is, with the $46 million we got last year and another 46 that just arrived at the end of last month, we finally have some money to be able to solve some of these problems that were insurmountable because no county in the state really has unlimited funds to be able to do some of the stuff that we're being able to do right now.
All right, not to put off the pickle people, but in terms of the county, I'm going to think that broadband is more important or a higher priority. A lot of the government money is planned for broadband. Where is that process? I know they were looking and working with the internet providers.
Yes.
Where have we moved to with that?
I've had several meetings with Lance Grable and Baker Engineering. Lance Grable, our Director of Redevelopment and Planning. And we are about ready to start an early action program along Route 51 that'll impact Darlington, South Beaver, and Big Beaver Borough. It's 140 or so homes that'll be able to have that, and when that cable is laid, it'll also be able to expand beyond that. So that's a nice chunk at one time. to start to get people access to that. But you're right. I mean, my premise is that nothing is more impactful universally to every resident of Beaver County than having access to the internet. So, and that's why we're spending $20 million on broadband alone, another 20 on municipal infrastructure. And then we have, some safety and health things like buying the radios and those kinds of things for communication. And then trying to give some to small businesses and nonprofits who were negatively impacted in their revenue during the 18 months of COVID.
There was no
fundraisers. There were no fundraisers.
That's right.
There were very little fundraising. Their operations were curtailed. The governor shut us down, even beyond some other counties for a while there. We were struggling to come back, and we pushed back, on that. But, we're trying to do this as equitably as we possibly can across all the municipalities, all the residents, to get people back on track and moving forward.
How much better do you feel about the future of Beaver County now than you did a year ago?
Well, I don't know. I've always
You're
been
back to pragmatic, aren't you?
I am, but I've always been bullish on Beaver County and Beaver Countians. We have a resilience and a perseverance that's
stubborn,
like nothing else. And I think that industrial legacy that we have, although we're not moving back into the steel days by any means, but there is a stick-to-itiveness, a resilience. I was in Beaver Sunday for the dedication of the First Baptist Church of Midland in Beaver. Mm-hmm. That church, a 105-year-old church, burnt down in Midland a couple of years ago.
I remember that.
That congregation stuck with it, tried to figure out where do they move. They had great collaboration from the faith-based community, in Beaver County, and they ended up acquiring a church that had been vacant for a couple of years. So instead of trying to repurpose a church as a housing unit or something else, it's being repurposed as it's intended, as it should be, as a church. And it was a great celebration of the coming together of the communities and stuff. So that resilience, that perseverance, I think, is part of our DNA, and I've always been pretty bullish on the county and optimistic about the future, but realistic about the current problems and what we have to do.
Jack Manning is with me. He's asked the commissioners questions coming in on the live Facebook feed, which is happening. I'm just going to read this to you. I don't know if it might be another one of those, why don't you fix this, and you have to explain it's got nothing to do with me. Mm-hmm. Ken listens, and I love that Ken listens. I hear from him all the time. Ken's question, why does PA still have a high death inheritance tax on family heirs?
Yeah, good question.
Good question, isn't it?
Yeah, and again, that's a Harrisburg question. I mean, as commissioners, we have no influence on the legislation, very little influence. Our state reps listen to us, and they try and get feedback when they're proposing different bills. But with our inheritance tax, our corporate tax, we're still out of line in Pennsylvania versus the states that we're competing for residents and businesses with. And those are two examples where I think they've tried to do something, but nothing obviously has been successful. Even Governor Wolf has acknowledged that our corporate tax is out of whack, and he's been trying to figure out ways to lower the overall corporate tax and still be in balance with the budget needs.
As a member of what is generally viewed as the government, right? Do you have more faith in the government? Or, I'm sorry, I phrased it wrong. Do you believe people have more or less faith in the government than they did 10 years ago, 5 years ago? You're pragmatic and optimistic with it, but that's not your constituency.
I've been saying this for a while. Unfortunately, Eddie, there's a trust deficit between people and not only government, but most institutions that we used to have a lot of faith and admiration for. And it's been going on for the last 8 to 10 years.
Okay.
And it's still there. And I don't know how we get around that other than continue to try and do what we say we're going to do and deliver on what we say.
Lead by example.
But I mean, for sure. that trust deficit is difficult because people are living in their own bubbles and getting information and news that backs up their mistrust, and maybe aren't seeing the big picture sometimes. And I mean, even the church, there's a trust deficit that people have with the church and religion. They're falling off. Their numbers are going down.
Yeah.
Institutions like our schools and our school systems, or like the police and the FBI and the courts and our judicial system. A lot of that has eroded. There's this trust deficit is the best way I can kind of describe it, and we're at a difficult point, I think, in our history right now, of trying to restore that trust and get people to move forward for the greater good.
Could it be a benefit in that the people don't trust the school board, so they're going to get involved and run for the school board? Do you have hope that it will cause people, basically their paranoia will cause them to actually take action?
Yeah, and we're already seeing that. We're seeing a lot more grassroots school board runs and administration, but even at the municipal level and the county level, we're seeing that. But I don't know how to get around some of the issues, the mistrust that exists there, other than doing what I've always done, which is sit down at the table. I mean, I'll talk to anybody about any subject, whether politically we agree or not, but I guarantee we'll find common ground somewhere on something that we'll be able to do that's positive to help move things forward. Some people just aren't willing to sit down. They just want to attack each other.
When you have a meeting with somebody like that, how long does it take for you to realize, all right, there's nothing rational that I'm going to say that's going to make a bit of difference? When's the switch flip and the lost cause?
Yeah, I mean, that's the exception rather than the rule.
Right.
I mean, there are some people you just can't have a rational conversation with because
like
they're
me, sure.
completely irrational.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I become friends with a lot of people that, I mean, people know I worked in the chemical industry, the petrochemical industry for, over 35 years. My wife and I are still, I think, environmentally sensitive. We do things the right way. We try and reduce our carbon footprint. We act locally on what we can control and do. But I have a lot of friends who are anti anything oil and gas and drilling and cracker plant and everything else. But, we accept where we are on the extremes and agree on some things in the middle that will make life better for everybody.
When you have a cookout and invite people over, are there certain topics with certain people? It's like, no, we ain't talking about that. You just know ahead of time, preemptively, we ain't talking about this, that, or the other. No.
Yeah, well, that happens with family. It's like,
Is it?
Don't ask Uncle John about that because I don't want to hear him go off on it.
Is it tougher to tell a buddy to shut up, or is it tougher to tell a cousin to shut up?
Yeah, I don't know. I think relatives may be tougher, but.
Because they got your address and you on the Christmas list, yeah. Is there anything I should have brought up with you today that I didn't? Jack Manning, Commissioner, Beaver County?
No, again, we're picking up with a lot of events, and I'm trying to go around and honor most of the requests that people like to see the commissioners out and about, so we try and get out as much as we can and do some things. I was at the Conway Memorial Day Parade. Mayor Grisco Rose invited me to that, and I said a few words there, and it was a great Memorial Day parade. I hadn't been to Conway's before, so it was a pleasure to get there and do that. Like Darlington Days are coming up. I'll be there for that. Car Cruise on the 11th.
Car Cruise, Beaver Falls on the 11th. Beaver County Boom is coming up again.
We have a bunch of holidays coming up in June as well. Flag Day and Father's Day and Juneteenth and all kinds of other stuff that's going on. So,
in a nutshell, just a ballpark figure, how many hours a week does it take to put in to be a commissioner? It's not a 9 to 5. Sometimes people don't realize that.
Well, look, everybody's different. I work the same way I've been working for the last 40 years.
Work's work. You get up, you go.
I get up, do it, and run through the tape at the end of the day, and whenever the end of the day runs.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's shorter than others.
Work's
sometimes.
done, but it's done when it's done. It's not done at a certain time, right?
Yeah.
Always wonderful to talk to you.
Yeah. Pleasure to be here, always.
Commissioner Jack Manning is my guest. People are like yelling at you. I didn't ask you a question about COVID. COVID numbers are going back up. Everybody's freaking out. Is there any consideration of going back to COVID protocol? Please say no so we can...
No, that's one of those things realistically we aren't going to do. But
hadn't even come up, has it?
No. It hasn't. We got one call asking where we were. Those numbers, I do track them, and they're small. They're going up, but
they went up less this week.
When you've only had one, and then you go to two, and you say, "Oh my God, there's a 100% increase."
Yeah.
Those statistics get a little skewed. It's still out there. It's a health issue, just like the flu and common colds and some other things. And for some populations, it's still much more risky and vulnerable if they were to come down with that.
But if I come see you in the commissioner's office, I don't have to wear a hazmat suit.
Never. We never instituted a mandatory mask program. We didn't. We had no capability, no right. We didn't do that. We only shut down when the state mandated that we had to shut down.
When Governor Wolf said shut down.
Yeah, and we had a lot of people working remotely. So, again, things that are in control, we can control. Things that we influence, we can try and influence. But there's some things that are completely out of our control and influence.
The Beaver County Commissioner and pragmatic thinker Jack Manning has been my guest. It's Teleforum on Beaver County Radio.
As one of the first law firms in the country to file asbestos claims, Goldberg, Persky & White's success stems from a deeper understanding of our clients. Many of GPW's Pittsburgh attorneys had family members who worked in the steel industry, and their blue-collar upbringing has given them the unique ability to personally relate to the hardworking men and women who are suffering from lung cancer and mesothelioma. When choosing a law firm, choose the law firm that treats you like one of its own. If you have lung cancer or mesothelioma, call 1-800-COMPLEX. Goldberg, Persky & White, truly working lawyers for working people.
Did you ever think you would see a day when nobody showed up for the big city holiday parades or pro sports events? This is Michelle from Laughlin Insurance Agency in Rochester. If nothing else, this past year has taught us that things we never considered possible can happen and that nobody can predict the future. At the Laughlin Agency, your Penn National insurance provider, we give you the ability to protect against loss during unexpected times. Who knows what the future holds? Visit LaughlinInsAgency.com.